For Honor Highlander Hero Review. Highlander is a pretty technical character, and I'm here to show you all of his movesets. He's got 3 chain attacks, one of them which I don't really know how to say, but it's 2 lights and a heavy. And then we have the Lowland Slashes, which is a light and a heavy, then Banshee's Wail, which is double heavies. Then we have a small special move which gives you super armor called Celtic Curse. You probably already know this. You dash forwards, hit the heavy button. It's pretty easy and pretty predictable. But that's when you can feign it by moving the guard to your left or right and hitting the heavy trigger again. So then you can do the Zelda spin attack. Well, basically. And I'd say it's pretty confusing for an enemy. Like, I've gone up against it and I've only blocked it, what, a couple times. Then you can manually go into offensive mode if you want, just by holding the heavy trigger or button, whatever. And you just release it to do a unblockable heavy in any guard. Just do it. Then you have the caber toss, well, which is while you're holding the trigger, just backwards in the guard rake, and well, you grab your opponent and throw him on the ground behind you, so you can get a free up top unblockable, well, heavy. And I'd say that's pretty good and bad, because the attack takes so long to recover from. If the guy dodges backwards, it's gonna make you pretty vulnerable. Then you have the Fomorian kick, which you just hit the guard break button while you're in the good old offensive mode, and it'll do an unblockable kick which will push him back and do a little bit of stamina damage. And when it comes to all those 3, you can have a crazy feint contest, because you can feint a heavy into a caber toss into a Fomorian kick, or all the way backwards, or in between. You can just feint everything. All you have to do is right on the startup of, let's say, unblockable heavy, just hit the X for the foreman kick. When the startup of the foreman kick comes on, just backwards and X, and you'll get your caber toss. But the thing is, when you do all 3, it's kind of useless because it drains all your stamina, basically. So yeah. So better to just feint once, not twice. Then you have your enhanced light, which I'd say is the most spammable thing in this game so far. AKA, just hold the heavy trigger and start hitting that light attack button like crazy, because you'll do lightning fast attacks that will throw your opponent off. And then you have the offensive emote, which I don't really think there is a use of this thing except for faking out caber toss, because it looks very similar. And then, which is basically hitting the Y button while you're holding the trigger. Then you have your sprint attack, which is kind of underpowered. Well, kind of. Because if there's like a group of enemies or just 2 guys running up on you, you can attack one, then accidentally attack the other, since it has a very wide spread. But then, if you want to go for one enemy, it doesn't have that much of a good range or detection, so yeah, it's not all that great. No, one thing, when it comes to the playstyle of Highlander, is mostly about trading hits, so don't worry, because no matter what you're going to be in, you're going to lose some health, I think, unless you're absolutely awesome and you can go flawless. Anyway, first off, you got that super armor, which basically lets you trade an attack when you're using the Celtic Curse while you're spinning, or while you're doing the top heavy, which you can interchange whenever you want. And I'd say it's pretty good. And when it comes to the punishes, if you parry with this guy, it seems kind of the normal, good old parry like everybody else. And also, if you happen to slam somebody in the wall after doing a throw, you'll guarantee a top heavy. And yeah, after that, caber toss does get you a good old top heavy for free. So yeah, keep using that, hopefully, and actually land it, because if you don't, well, your enemy's going to get that top heavy from you. Then You can counter your zone attack, sprint attack, and well, that's just about it. For the general tips, I'd say there's a few startups you can use. You can use a regular version of the Celtic Curse, or you can use the cancels, aka the spin attack, or the regular sprint attack, which is kind of lousy, or just a heavy attack, or just don't do anything at all and turtle, like everybody else, and have a crazy staring contest with your enemy. It's not all that great. And if they do happen to attack, you can use your crushing counter, which is basically like the Warden's crushing counter, only that you can use it just about on any guard. Just gotta hit that light attack button just on the right time. And boom, you'll get yourself a free light, which will chain into a free, good old unblockable heavy. Because if you do land an attack, you can fast flow into your offensive form, which is basically after any attack, guard break, just about anything you do to the enemy, you can actually go into offensive mode easily and fast, and it's pretty good for a little bit more at the higher level, and it's pretty useful, but kind of weak at the same time. Well, anyway, smack that like button, hit the